This section, we're going to talk a little bit about cosmology and begin that topic, and talk a lot more about Olbers Paradox. So let's start with cosmology. This is one of those definitions that you definitely need to know. Cosmology is defined as the study of the structure and the evolution of the universe. So how's the cosmos put together, and how has it changed through time? One of my favorite slides is this one. I actually heard our author, Alex Filipinko, speak, and he had this in his talk, and I took a picture of it, and I thought it was awfully cute. So if you want to make cosmology your career, you can learn how to blow dry, do permanent waves, frosting, skincare, and basic cuts. Yes, cosmology and cosmetology. Spell check. Spell check is evil for all sorts of people. One of the first questions that cosmologists asked was this one. If there are infinite number of stars all over the sky, why is the sky dark at all? Because if there are just a few stars hither and thither, well, then there's dark spots in between. But if there is an infinite number of stars, wouldn't the sky look like this? Just one big glitter ball of brightness everywhere? Johannes Kepler, asked this question way back in the 1600s. And the fact that the sky does have dark spots between stars tells us an awful lot about the universe. Now, one of the fellows who was trying to explain or understand this why the sky is dark thing was Heinrich Olbers. And Olbers lived in the late 1700s, early 1800s in Germany. And he said there are three possible answers to why the night sky is dark. Answer number one is this. The universe has a finite size. So if the universe is not infinite in size, if it has a definite size to it, we can see beyond the forest to what lies behind it. So for example, if you were standing in a public park and there are trees all over the park, but there's an edge to it and you can see blank spaces beyond. That's the analogy. The challenge is our current understanding is that the universe has no edge. If you want to picture the universe as being like inside of a giant beach ball, but we're talking in more dimensions than in multiple dimensions, not just in 3 dimensions. That's kind of how we think the universe is constructed. There is no beginning, there is no end, there is no edge to it. So we're pretty sure the universe does not have a finite size. So that is not the right answer for Olbers Paradox. The other possible answer that Olbers came up with is that the universe has a finite number of stars, meaning no matter how big it is, we would see gaps between each individual star. If there are only a set number of stars, there are gaps between them. Again, back to the forest analogy. If you were standing in a forest and there were lots of trees, but a finite number of them, you could always see gaps between individual trees. Well, does that match what we know about cosmology? Not at the moment, because we don't really know. Are there an infinite number of stars or not? We don't think that this is the answer to why is the sky got dark patches between the stars. The third and final hypothesis from Olbers Paradox is this one. We believe the universe has a finite age, and this is the one that we believe is the true one. The speed of light is fixed, meaning it is what it is what it is. The speed of light does not change depending upon additional motion, relative motion, if matter or space itself is squished or contracted. Light has a fixed speed, and that is a wonderful tool for astronomers and cosmologists. Now, what that means is the only things that we can see that will come to our eyes are things that have been traveling long enough to get to us. And if we look back towards the beginning of time, we see that there was a point in time that we first detect light. And our astronomical tools are so good that if there were things that were older than 13.7 billion years, we could detect them. Astronomers are that good, but we detect nothing beyond there. And so we are pretty sure the universe is about 13.7 billion years old. Because of that, that is the best explanation of the three as to why there are dark spots between the stars. And this is a huge clue as to the age of the universe. The other thing that we believe is occurring to give us some dark spots between the individual stars is due to the Doppler redshift. Because of the expansion of the universe, many distant galaxies, most of them actually, are running away from us. This is causing this Doppler redshift, so normal light is shifted into the longer wavelength infrared. So we suspect that some distant galaxies are so far away that they have shifted out of the visible into the infrared, and that contributes to that darkness that we see between stars. Now, I'm going to ask you to watch a little short 4-minute video on this concept from Minute Physics, which is one of my favorite websites, and they do a really nice job of explaining that. All right, see you next.